Update. Am I the a-hole for abruptly cutting my ex-fiancé out of my life? Original post. I, male 25, met my now ex-fiancé in my first year of college. We were both 18 and went from friends to lovers pretty quickly. We clicked so well, and everything was so easy and effortless. We had a really good relationship. It's the kind of relationship that everyone wishes they were in. The kind of relationship that people idolized and said, if those two broke up, then love doesn't exist. You get the picture. For the purpose of this post, let's call my ex Ashley. Ashley was everything I was looking for in a woman. Funny, smart, attractive, down-to-earth, and family-oriented. She wanted to build a life together. Our families got close over the course of our relationship. It was like we were already one big family before even getting married. As planned, I popped the question a year ago not knowing that this would change everything. She said yes, of course, but things started to change. Slowly but surely, over the months, she became more distanced. I tried to ignore it and chalked it up to nervousness. You know, cold feet before taking the big marriage plunge. I should have trusted my instincts. She always went out with her group of friends on the weekends. I've been on these outings before. Usually it's clubbing and drinking. It's not my scene, but I trusted my girl, so I had no problem with her going without me. These outings became much more frequent after I popped the question. I tried to ignore my gut feeling that something was wrong about this. I should have listened. Last week, I got a text from one of her girlfriends. She said she feels super guilty about what's been going on. According to her, Ashley has been worried about getting married. She feels that she hasn't had a chance to explore other options, and the prospect of getting locked down for life made her really anxious. At these outings, she will frequently flirt with guys, dance with them, grind on them, make out with them to get it out of her system. Since she wasn't sleeping with them, she didn't consider it cheating. According to the friend, she also went down on a guy in the club bathroom. She sent me pictures and videos from some of those escapades. My heart sank. I felt like I died that day. I thanked the friend for telling me and told her to keep it between us. For me, any form of cheating is a big no-no. I knew it was over. What makes this worse is that I have a past with cheating. She knows about my high school ex who cheated on me, and being a stupid teenager, I tried to end it all. This just makes this whole situation cut even deeper. She knows how much hurt she could cause, and still went ahead with it. I wanted to crawl into bed and cry for a month. I wanted to be weak. I felt weak. But I decided I would give myself the chance to mourn and cry over this after I protect myself. Me and my fiancé share an apartment that we both pay rent for 50-50. I decided to take 2 days off work and covertly started to move my things out to my brother's house across the city. He knows about everything and immediately offered his place to me. The first day I moved non-essential items out. When Ashley got back from work, she made a comment about it, but I brushed it off by saying I sold some stuff and took some more stuff to a storage unit to tidy and clear space up in our apartment. She didn't question it. I was furious on the inside about everything that I found out about, but kept cool to avoid suspicion. She noticed I was a bit withdrawn, but I told her I was just tired and stressed from work. The second day, while she was at work, my brother and his wife came over to help me pack everything else, and I was fully moved out by 3 p.m. that day. Since then, I have avoided every single form of communication sent by my ex. I have completely cut her off. I refuse to talk to her or her family. I don't even want to confront her about what happened. She came home that day and saw everything was gone. She texted all my friends and family who in turn texted me, but I only responded to my parents, who are fully behind me in my decision. Her family and friends are blowing up my phone and saying that I'm an a-hole for leaving without a word. They've even been blasting me on social media. I don't really care. She knows what she did. To me, she is dead. She doesn't exist. Because of all this backlash, my brother and his wife are now also questioning if it was right of me to completely ignore everyone. This has caused me to doubt myself a bit, so here I am. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. She knows what she did. You might want to tell everyone so they get off your back. I wouldn't go into details. She cheated. She's not telling anyone. OP doesn't want to be harassed. Please give space. OP is trying to just ghost her. That was really stupid. Even if he's trying to be non-confrontational. He should have dumped her, requested she stick to the truth when discussing with mutual friends as he has evidence, but obviously she can be vague. If he completely turtles and disappears, she will try to write a narrative where OP is the villain and will have time to spread her version. OP deserves his engagement ring back and his share of the deposit on the apartment. Not the a-hole. Fiancé going down on random dudes in bathrooms? Nah, dump and block is the only thing to do. I also vote to send her parents the evidence of her cheating and to just tell others she cheated. No, WTF. The parents and siblings didn't do anything wrong, and it's pretty messed up to subject them to seeing an image or video of their child they may never wish to have seen. Verbally letting them know that their child had been unfaithful is fine. There is zero need to post the proof to everyone. Pretty messed up thing to do, and her actions do not justify that. Send her one message. Tell your family to back off and leave me alone. You know what you did. And unless you want me to send them all proof of what a lying, cheating POS you are, you will tell them to back off. Then block her. Why warn? Just do it and grab popcorn. Mini update. An overwhelming amount of people have convinced me to reach out to her parents and give them an explanation to clear my name. I will update when I get a chance tomorrow. Thank you for the responses. Now for the full update. After an overwhelming amount of people screamed at me in the comments to speak out, I decided to break my silence. I didn't want to make this whole thing public. Despite what she did, some part of me still cares for her. I was with her for 6 years. You can't just throw that away overnight. I came to the conclusion that the right thing to do was to talk to her parents. Only her family needed to know. Everyone else can have whatever opinion they want of me. I don't care. The people who truly know me and are close to me are the only ones I care about. I sent a detailed message of what happened to my closest friends and family. All of them, of course, believed me right away. No pictures needed. I didn't feel like it was necessary or appropriate to spread those pictures of her, so I didn't. Now that the people I cared about were sorted, I moved on to her parents. I messaged her mom, who, by the way, I had gotten so close to I considered her the second mom, and she considered me a son. She was very upset with me, but agreed to meet up. I felt like this needed to be an in-person conversation rather than Inuka drop in an email with everyone they know CC'd. I met her mom and her dad at a diner we used to frequent for breakfast. I know, so cliché. It was quite emotional. They were understandably upset. They didn't do anything wrong, and I cut them out of my life like nothing happened. I understood why they were upset, so when they were confronting me, I was very quiet, just listening, letting them get it all out. I admit I was tearing up with them. That is, until they accused me of some things. It's been a whole week since all of this went down. In that week, a lot happened. Apparently, according to her parents, my ex convinced everyone that I cheated and that she kicked me out. And I haven't been answering anyone because I was so ashamed of what I had done. Lol, I literally laughed out loud. I responded by saying that I am sorry and I wished them a happy life and walked out. I was so freaking upset. I couldn't even have imagined of being accused of this. What a freaking joke. I can't believe her parents would believe her and throw me under the bus so fast. I walked out because I'm pretty sure I would have said some things I'd regret to her parents. I didn't want to do this, but she left me no choice. I activated a nuclear option. I went home, made an email titled "For Your Reading Pleasure," and attached every picture her friend sent me, including screenshots of the chat with her friend where she expressed how guilty she felt about the cheating. I also attached the videos of her grinding and making out with other guys. I included a long explanation detailing everything that has happened since D-Day. I ended the email by saying that I do not wish to be contacted and that I expect my ring back at some point. I attached her, her parents, any friend I could think of, any coworker that I just so happened to know as well. Screw it. So that's where I'm at now. I may be the a-hole for sending that email, but she really tested my freaking limits when I found out what she was telling people. I have zero regrets. Currently crashing at my brother's place on a pull-out couch. He's helping me get through this, as much as one can guess. Who knows what kind of fallout that email will create. Either way, I'm gonna sit back and enjoy it with popcorn, whilst sobbing. That is why people on Reddit insist you tell people immediately. Because usually when a cheater, after a long relationship involving family and common friends, they realize the future consequences. So it's easy to decide and manipulate people around her so she can move on easier when no one knows why you did what you did. Yeah, I was the one of the comments who said he needed to tell the family at least about what happened. If the ex is capable of cheating behind his back, she's capable of doing this. Though I suggest putting screenshots of the messages and snippets before the act. I'm not surprised her parents chose the ex. That's their daughter. Regardless who came first, there's a chance they'll pick her side. Now, this is kind of confusing because OP said everyone were calling him an a-hole for just moving out all of a sudden. And now the ex is saying she kicked him out? My reading comprehension skills may be off, but I'm just confused why they'd be calling him an a-hole for moving out without a word, if they knew that she kicked him out. Unless she told them much later on, which should have raised suspicions. I'm thinking they're mad at him for moving out because they think he gave up and didn't apologize according to them. Wholeheartedly, I feel that you did the right thing with this. Pulling nonsense like this is never okay, and trying to throw you under the bus should always come with consequences. My heart goes out to you, OP. She is their daughter after all, and they did try to contact you. I recognize why they reached out and why they believe their daughter. Still, OP and even his brother and wife were getting harassed by people he chose to cut out. OP seemed to not want to stir the pot and chose to just leave the situation because he didn't want anything to do with it anymore. But his ex throwing him under the bus, lying and ruining his reputation, leading to him getting harassed for an extended period of time by multiple people, even to the point where his family is getting harassed, isn't okay. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help with my child? Years ago, when I was a freshman in college, I got my then-girlfriend pregnant accidentally. Typically, we used a combination of the pill and rubbers, but that night we decided to go without, and unfortunately, her hormonal birth control failed. She didn't realize she was pregnant until it was too late for Plan B. I assumed there would be a termination as we had discussed the possibility of exactly this scenario before in our relationship, and both agreed at a time it would be what we wanted. Unfortunately, when push came to shove, she decided to go back on that and press forward with a pregnancy. I was not on board and let her know that. Later, testing showed that the child would be disabled. At that point, I told her very frankly yet again that I absolutely did not want this burden. I reminded her that we had agreed on a termination even had the child had been healthy, and I said, in no uncertain terms, that if she decided to press forward with us unilaterally, I would live up to my bare minimum legal obligations and do no more than that. I advised her that being an effectively single mother to a heavily disabled child, requiring lifelong care, would be far more difficult than she seemed to realize, and that no version of reality would this ever lead to the two of us building the happy family I think she was imagining. She disregarded that entirely and brought the baby to term. I saw him exactly once. In the end, her parents legally adopted the child. My rights and obligations were terminated at the time. I lost touch with her, but went on to graduate and have the life I wanted now. I recently heard from her for the first time since the adoption, after she found me on Facebook. Since then, she hasn't done as well for herself. Unfortunately, both of her parents have passed. Her father died of COVID a few years back, and sadly, her mother passed in a car accident a few weeks ago. She's now responsible for her son/adoptive brother, and doesn't have the resources to handle him. Apparently, the care for her son was extremely costly even with insurance, and they weren't able to leave much. He's completely incapable of any degree of independence. He's profoundly mentally disabled and can't even feed himself or use a toilet. I told her that I would not be getting involved under any circumstances, advised her to look into any government assistance or charity that her parents may have overlooked, and to see if having him put in some kind of facility would be feasible. I was very firm about her not contacting me again, and I blocked her. My wife agrees with me wholeheartedly about not burdening ourselves with this, but she suggested we might have an ethical obligation to send some money to help with the situation. I disagree, and I'm afraid that giving anything at all will be like feeding seagulls. I want nothing to do with it at all. This isn't a serious conflict between us, but I just want to know if her point has merit. Now for the comments, not the a-hole. You might be the biological father, but the boy was formally adopted by his grandparents, and that meant that they were his legal parents. As you say, your rights and legal obligations were terminated at the time, and therefore you aren't required to step up now after all these years. Maybe offer to help find appropriate care for the boy. It sounds like his physical needs are greater than what his mother/sister can handle alone, never mind the financial headaches. But you aren't under any obligation to help out. I have a feeling that if you gave money, she would keep coming back for more. It's sad, but your ex was aware of your position and what the child's future was likely to be, and she still chose to keep the baby. Without her parents' practical and financial assistance anymore, she needs to get her brother into a home where he can receive the help he needs. Your ex should also receive Social Security payments since the son/brother was legally the son of now deceased parents. Yes, The kid should get survivor benefits for both of his parents along with disability payments via Social Security, assuming they are in the US. If not, I know most other countries have similar programs for the disabled. The child would be obligated for survivor benefits or disability, whichever is greater. With the death of the mother, the survivor benefits could increase but isn't guaranteed. One of those situations where I absolutely thought Opie would be the a-hole, but Opie, I'm now nodding my head in full agreement with you. It was her body carrying the child and her choice to bring a profoundly disabled person into the world. Not a whole lot you could say about that at a time, but it was the choice of her parents to adopt him themselves, thus absolving you of legal responsibility. This is a tough situation, but you also predicted a lot of what actually did come true. You know that raising this kid would be a monumental feat. You never wanted that burden yourself, and you opted out when you could. I don't blame you one bit, and you're not the a-hole. If Opie does decide to lean toward offering anything at all, it should not be done without consulting an attorney. Absolutely, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to consult with a family law attorney, regardless. Update. After reading the advice given in the comments, I decided the best course of action was to continue my policy of refusing any direct involvement in the situation. However, as she explained to me that she was unable to care for the boy on her own, I phoned social services in her state and reported a vulnerable person not being adequately cared for. I was contacted for a follow-up and provided copies of her messages.